Words of our Divine Mother from the book The Mother, Question and Answers of 1957-58, Volume 9, page 252. A child comes up to the mother and says, "Sweet mother, do people have bad thoughts because they have no control over their minds?" For this, our Divine Mother says, bad thoughts? There can be several reasons for that. In fact, there are several reasons. It may be due to a bad nature. If people have nasty feelings, these nasty feelings can be the cause of nasty thoughts. It may be the opposite. Perhaps they are wide open to all sorts of suggestions from outside, and as I said, these suggestions enter them and gradually create nasty feelings. It may be due to subconscious influences which are conflicting precisely because they are uncontrolled. When these influences rise to the surface, instead of being controlled and those which are undesirable refused, everything is allowed to enter as it likes. The doors are open. You are bathed in all kinds of things, good, bad, neutral, luminous, dark. It's all there, and each one's consciousness should, in principle, act as a filter. You should receive only what you want to receive. You should think only what you want to think, and then you should not allow these thoughts to be changed into feelings and actions without formal authorization. In fact, this is the very purpose of physical existence. Each person is an instrument for controlling a certain set of vibrations which represent his particular field of work. Each one must receive only the ones which are in conformity with the divine plan and refuse the rest. But not 1 in 1,000 does that. You do it a little, half consciously, due to the friction of circumstances and surroundings. But as for doing it deliberately, surely there are very few human beings who do it deliberately, and even when it's done deliberately, to do it in the true way with the true knowledge, that indeed is still more exceptional. Thought control. Who can control his thoughts? Only those who have trained themselves to it, who have tried hard since their childhood. A Divine Mother says, there is the whole range, you see, from the total lack of control, which for most people comes to this. It is their thoughts which rule them, not they their thoughts. The vast majority of people are troubled by thoughts they cannot get rid of, which literally possess them, and they don't have the power to close the door of their active consciousness to these thoughts. Their thoughts govern them, rule them. You hear people saying every day, "Oh, that thought, all the time it comes back to me again and again, and I can't get rid of it." So, they are assailed by all kinds of things, from anxiety to ill will and fear. Thoughts which express dread are extremely troublesome. You try to send them away, they return like a rubber band and fall back on you. Who has control? It requires years of labor and such a long practice. And so, to come to something which is not complete control, but anyway already represents a stage, to have the ability to do this in your head, Mother moves her hand across the brow to annul all the movements, to stop the vibrations, and the mental surface becomes smooth. Everything stops when you open a book at a blank page, but almost materially, you understand? Blank. Try a little when you are at home. You will see it is very interesting. Let me repeat this for you. Who has control? It requires years of labor and such a long practice. And so, to come to something which is not completely controlled, but anyway already represents a stage, to have the ability to do this in your head, to annul all the movements, to stop the vibrations, and the mental surface becomes smooth. Everything stops, as when you open a book at a blank page, but almost materially, you understand, a blank page. Try a little when you are at home, you will see it is very interesting. And so one follows the place in one's head where the little point is dancing. I have seen Sri Aurobindo doing this in somebody's head, somebody who used to complain of being troubled by thoughts. It was as if his hand, the hand of our Lord Sri Aurobindo, reached out and took hold of this little black dancing point and then did this gesture with the fingertips. The mother shows the gesture with the fingertips as one picks up an insect and he threw it far away. And that was all. All still, quiet, luminous. It was clearly visible like this. He took it out without saying anything and it was over. And things were closely interdependent. I also saw the case when someone came to him with an acute pain somewhere. Oh, it hurts, it hurts. He said nothing. He remained calm. He looked at the person and I saw something like a subtle physical hand which came and took hold of the little point dancing about in disorder and in confusion and took it like this. And there everything had gone. Oh, look, my pain has gone, said that person. Our Divine Mother says, if all arguments in the world were true, they were to be of no higher realization, there would be nothing left to do. But fortunately, this is not true. Only Sri Aurobindo has said many times that there will be no irrefutable proof of truth of what he has said and predicted until it is accomplished. Only when everything is accomplished will those who refuse to believe be obliged to recognize their mistake, but perhaps they won't be there to do it. So there is only one thing to do: to proceed on one's way, keeping one's faith and certitude, and to pay no heed to contradictions and denials. Let me repeat this. There is only one thing to do, says our Divine Mother. There is only one thing to do: to proceed on one's way, keeping one's own faith and certitude, and to pay no heed to contradictions and denials. There are people who need the support and trust and certitude of others to feel comfortable and to be at ease. They are always unhappy because, of course, they will always come across people who do not believe. So they will be upset and it will trouble them. One must find one's certitude within oneself, says our Divine Mother. One must find one's certitude within oneself, keep it in spite of everything, and go on one's way, whatever the cost, to the very end. The victory is for the most enduring. To maintain one's endurance, in spite of all oppositions, the support must be unshakable. And one support alone is unshakable, that of the reality, the supreme truth. It is useless to look for any other truth. This is the only hand that never fails. This is the only truth that never fails. This is the only one that never fails. From page 423, there is an explanation given by the Divine Mother from the pages of Life Divine. Our Divine Mother says, from the point of view of individual development and for those who are still trying to begin to start on the journey on this path, to remain silent, one must not understand to know how to do it. To do it, one has to remain not only silent externally without uttering a word, but also try to know how to be silent within, so that the mind does not assert its ignorance with its usual presumptuousness, does not try to understand with an instrument that it is incapable of understanding, waiting until the time has come for it to receive the light, because only the divine light, the true light, can give it understanding. It is not at all that it has learnt, nor all that it has observed, nor all its so-called experience of life. It is something else which is completely beyond it. And until this something else, which is the expression of the grace, manifests within, if very quietly, very modestly the mind remains silent, does not try to understand, and above all judge, things would go much faster. The noise made by all the worlds, all the ideas ideas in your head is so deafening that it prevents you from hearing the truth when it wants to manifest. To be quiet, that is to learn to be quiet and silent when you have a problem to solve, instead of turning over in your head all the possibilities, all the consequences, or the possible things one should do or should not do. Remain quiet with an aspiration for goodwill. If possible, a need for goodwill, the solution comes very quickly. As you are silent, you are able to hear it. When you're caught in a difficulty, try this method. Instead of becoming agitated, turning over all the ideas and actively seeking solutions, of worrying, fretting, running here and there inside your head, you have to be silent in your head. Remain quiet, and according to your nature, with ardor or peace, with intensity or widening, with all these together, implore the light. Wait for it to come, and in this way, the path will be considerably shortened. These are the divine words of our Divine Mother.